Yo!
Yo!
It was a. I like
Patrick,
that
you
it was a
muted.
perfect little wave. I think Patrick is still muted.
Patrick, you muted.
Shit.
There you go.
I even told him. I even told him before. I'm like, make sure you unmute before we do the
Yeah.
yo. And yeah.
I heard you guys doing the yo at the
Yes.
end of the first part because I
didn't-
like a
yeah.
month ago I added the footage. You know,
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
really funny.
And I can see Patrick on my end, and I was just like, I'm like, I thought that was it.
Nice.
Oh,
Yeah.
how's it going, everyone?
I'm doing fantastic. It's a Friday, and the weather's still holding up. It
is a
hasn't started raining yet. So, what about you guys?
Yeah, it's been raining here. It's cold.
No
Yeah.
rain. No rain for me. No rain.
What city are you in again, Patrick?
Atlanta.
Okay. Nice. It's good
Yeah,
weather this
yeah.
time of year
We get
before it
rain
starts
all day.
getting really hot. Yeah.
Yeah, we rain all day tomorrow. But you know what? It's been unseasonably cold. We woke up. It was 42 degrees this morning.
Yes.
That's
It's been chilly.
We've had
Yeah,
a
it's been
spike
chilly.
from 75 over the last weekend, and it's going to be into like the mid 40s to like low 50s this weekend. So it's jumping around a lot right now for us. I-
Also, I
just-
don't know who it's coming from, but there's like a background thing, like a pounding.
I think it's
That's
Patrick.
from Patrick's end. It's Patrick's
Okay.
end. Someone's doing something.
It was somebody outside. It was somebody outside. They stopped. They're going.
Don't they know who you are?
Sounds like somebody rattling a ladder, just like against the side of a
Yeah,
house.
yeah. That's exactly what they were doing. They're getting some trees cut. And so,
Oh, nice. Okay. Like it sounded like a metal ladder, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm very happy that you guys are have joined today. I also think it's a particularly interesting topic because we're all in a space where we do a lot of content production, obviously on YouTube. At least I started with blogging and everything, but I think I've certainly gotten quite a few questions from individuals like how do I get started with getting an identity or a brand. So I thought of if anybody was to merit a discussion on that, it'd be you guys to
Yeah.
just really talk about the evolution of how you get to a point where you can say you kind of have a customized identity or brand and recognition for that as you kind of get exposure online and everything.
Yep. Yeah, and I think all of us probably started blogging.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
as Patrick's children, or as Patrick's daughter would say, we were born in the 1900s. And folks in that range, I think blogging was the thing, right? So yeah.
I think I've definitely seen more and more people switching from written to video media as well. I mean, I know that there's definitely certain technical topics that I presented on where it's nice to kind of have the code or something else in written form for copy paste purposes or copy pasta. But there's a lot of topics where especially just I don't do well following screenshots if I'm trying to do something in a software tool. I like to just watch the mouse move around and click and do the things, and I find it so much easier just to pause and do that rather than having to try to read a script and then and hope that the screenshots capture the steps well. And sometimes like they get from one place to another, like wait, how did they? There's like two steps in between this that it's missing, and it's impossible to skip that if you're actually doing a video recording unless you literally cut out the part of the video. So that's one of the reasons I switched. And honestly, I'm terrible at editing for any kind of word stuff. So I always feel I hate it when it's like that somebody reads your article and oh yeah, by the way, there's a grammatical error. Crap. Okay. I'll have to go edit that. But
You know what? Wait. You know what the beauty of a blog is?
yeah.
I don't care. Like, it's a blog. Like
A lot of people
Okay.
do. I've definitely had
That's
multiple.
fine.
I've had multiple people at least
fine.
like kindly mention an edit, but the thing with the video is nobody's gonna like. Oh, by the way, that sentence that you said at 2:35, you incorrectly said that sentence. Nobody's gonna correct your speaking typically in
That's
a
not
video. I've yet to
not
have that.
we've had it.
Have you?
We've
Okay.
had it. Oh yeah, people call out all sorts of things, and I'm like, Like, well, I'm not going back and fixing that. There was one in particular. There was one video in particular that we got hounded on. It was our, and I'm not even going to say it. It's because I'll say it incorrectly and we'll get hounded here. So, so it was a specific sequel topic that we did that they're like, can you change XYZ? I'm like, no, I'm not. It's video. I'm not going back and re-recording the whole thing. It's fine.
That is a downside of YouTube.
It wasn't like the point. Everything was still there. Like everything was technically accurate. It was just the naming of the feature itself. And I'm like, I just didn't care at that point. I'm like, I don't, whatever. It's fine.
True. That's more of like a labeling thing rather than like, oh, you said this word when you really should have used this word, kind of a thing. Yeah. I actually like Andy's description right here. Just blog is a conversation you have with nobody.
Yeah. So are our videos.
I thought that's really funny.
That was a conversation with Patrick on the last video from yesterday. So.
Yeah. Just as a quick add on to what you're saying about kind of odd corrections, or a couple of videos ago, it was with Chris Finland that I had. I was drinking something like, this is just sparkling water, but I had kombucha. And somebody's like, "Oh, be careful with that. There's a lot of sugar, and the probiotics might be bad." They basically kind of give me a little lecture, and it was like, "Oh, okay.
Rightly so."
Yeah, I'm sure it was said out of like, it sounded like they just wanted to make sure I was safe, but it was still more of like, that's a random thing to comment on. Okay.
It's Reed. Welcome to the internet.
Yeah. Oh no, I will say that YouTubers are a lot kinder than blog commenters that I've seen. 99.99% of my comments that I get on YouTube videos are usually pretty nice. I've definitely had some scathing ones at like Power Pivot Pro when I blogged there, where they're just like, "This is wrong. It should be this way. You are incorrect." And I've only had that on blogs. I've not had that on YouTube videos yet.
We've had a few. There was one in particular I remember, and this was a while ago, where I will say it was blatantly racist. It was directed towards Patrick.
That's no
and so this is one of, so as we get into branding and these items, there's a bunch of things that you've even mentioned now from a branding perspective that I think are great tie-ins to everything. So one of them is what you're trying to do here, Reed, on this channel, what we're doing on Guy in a Cube, and what a brand does in particular is you're building a community of people, right? And the one thing I love is when that comment hit, and it was interesting also because Patrick saw it and he's just like, it's just a guy being a jerk. And I'm like, no, that was racist. And Patrick didn't even think about it. Like, it was weird. I had to call it out. Like, no, that was like blatantly racist. What I love about the community is like, that's one of those things where I'm not necessarily going to get into it with someone just from a brand perspective. I don't know that it's a lose-lose situation, right? It's not going to end well. And so from my perspective, the best thing I could do is just delete the comment. But what I love about the community, so I'm going to throw a link in the chat. There was a book that I was introduced to very early on in my YouTube career where it's a book called Primal Branding. And let me get the branding. And this book outlines there's a couple different aspects of a brand as part of that. And so this goes from you've got your creation story, you've got your creed, your icons, your rituals. You've also got what they refer to in the book as pagans or your haters. Like every brand has your haters, right? You've got sacred words, and then you've got your zealots. So these are your super fans or the people that come to your aid from a community perspective. And what I loved about that comment was, and I even told Patrick, I'm like, let's let the community jump in. And man, did they jump in.
They
took that guy to task.
Your message was deleted by the YouTube moderator. You're a moderator. What?
I think it was auto deleted because of the link. It was an Amazon link. So here, let me I'll just put the title.
That's, even though you're a moderator, the moderator team is like, no, not allowed. That's interesting.
Yeah, apparently Guy in a Cube is too risque for Reed's channel. That's okay.
It's a little too bananas
so I did-
for the channel
so it's
flavor.
Primal
Yeah.
Branding by Patrick Hanlon. So it's a great book just on branding in general. So I highly recommend it. But he goes
honestly, I'll
through just
read it.
those different aspects. And if you if you look at any brand, so you think of brands like Nike or Apple or Microsoft, they all have those elements, right? There's a creation story for that brand. There are certain words, or that those words or the lexicon, like the those items that go with it. So even in Power BI, we have those items, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And so those are all parts of it. There's rituals that are assigned to that as well. And like Apple, man, they've got their fanatics, right? You put an Apple logo on a coffee mug and call it the Apple mug or the iMug, and people are going to buy that, right? It's
I mean, I'm a former
it's
guilty person of that. Where it's like I would want anything. I mean, I still like my iPhone, but I don't care now.
Yeah.
Just as a quick comment on that, I do feel that brand loyalty has shifted a bit from like obsessive to people just kind of go with whatever the current good product is a little bit more than it used to. Yeah.
So, but it's those are all different aspects, and those are things that we think about, like from as I went through this early on. That was those are things that I think about from a Guy in a Cube perspective of what those items are. So even from a Guy in a Cube perspective, if we think of like the words or the lexicon, the yo that we do. That not only is that a word or that lexicon of what Guy in a Cube is, but it's also a ritual that we have, right? So when we start anything, even when we're in person and we do conferences, we do a yo. Patrick, tell the story. You were walking down a street.
But wait.
Oh, I hope somebody did that to you on a sidewalk. That would make my life if somebody did something like that.
Yes, so I was in Seattle. I think it was Seattle, and we were at Pack Summit or something like that. And I was walking down the street. On one side of the street, you guys know where the Cheesecake Factory is down in Seattle, and they were passing by the Cheesecake Factory.
Yeah.
And it was a group of people, and they were all like, "Yo," and I was on the other side of the street, and I just did it back, I just said, "Yo," so it was pretty cool. Yeah. But. In on one of our videos, somebody did comment and said, "You guys should stop doing the yo. You should stop doing the yo. It's old, and you should come up with something else." And I was like, "No, we're doing the yo."
No,
I mean, like
not going away.
That is, I think, probably the biggest branded thing that you guys have. I've had a few people ask me, like, "Do you have a Guy in a Cube yo thing?" Like, no. I mean, maybe someday something will happen, but I don't have any, like, I don't want to force an intro, and I've had a few guests ask me that, like, what do you do for intro? Honestly, I just start talking to the camera.
So some insider, and I've shared this story in a few places, but we've got to tell the story of the yo, because this is how these things get created, and this is part of the brand, and just organically these things come about. And so, I brought, originally it was just me on Guy in a Cube, and I brought Patrick into Guy in a Cube. And when I did, and I did that because Patrick and I balance each other, right? We both bring different things to the table, and we complement each other in a lot of ways. And so I told Patrick, I was like, when he started doing his videos, I'm like, dude, Patrick doesn't show up until halfway through the video. So you need to do something to get that energy going right from the beginning. And he's like, it's so hard because Patrick likes the live audience, and we didn't have that in the video. He's like, this is so hard. I'm like, dude, you got to do something. Get to that point where you feel like ridiculous, like this is just stupid, right? Like where you feel really uncomfortable. I'm like, that's where you want to be. Get to that energy level, then you're good. And so he's like, all right, I'll work on it. And then go, Patrick. Tell the rest of it.
And so, I mean, I was stuck. I'll be honest with you, Reed. I was stuck, man. I had all these ideas of how I was going to start. I recorded lots of different ways, and I'd watch it, and I go, oh, that's awful. That's awful. So I was talking to my daughter, and she was, I don't know, how many years ago has that been now, Adam? 5, 6, I don't know.
4 or 5
And so
years?
she was like 9 years old. Yeah, she was like 9 years old. She was a little bitty lady. And I go, what? I need a better way to start these videos. And she goes, well, what did you guys used to say when you were kids? I was like, we said, yo, what's up? Yo. And she was like, why don't you say yo? And I'm like, okay, so I did it. And I was like,
No.
yo, this is Patrick from Guy in the Q. I did. And she
No.
was like, what? And I showed her the video. She was like, that's not going to work. You got to go like, yo, Dad, you got to say, yo. And so I did it. And I didn't tell Adam about it. I didn't. I just recorded the video. I was like, yo, it's Patrick from Guy in the Q, blah, 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 blah. And I just uploaded the video. And then he called me and...
I'm like, I seriously, when I just played it, I laughed so hard. I fell out of my chair. I was like, what was that? And like his energy was just there from the beginning. Like it was just bam. And like my wife, people in the chat will know her as Chatmaster C, but she came running up. She's like, what the heck was that? It sounded like a big thud on the floor. I'm like, oh, that was this guy. Like, watch this. And she's like, what? She's like, why is he doing that? And I'm like, no, it's good. Trust me. And so and then it just stuck. I'm like, we just went with that from now on. So what was the funnier part of this is I went to a local user group meeting and went up there and there was this older lady that was there and she had a nice Southern Belle accent and she walks up to me and she's just like, that other gentleman that you do the videos with, he scared me to death. He just jumped out of my monitor and with this yo thing and
oh my God,
goodness, bless his heart. Oh, but it was wonderful. So I was, like the yo staying. The yo is there. So
like honestly though, the fact that it came as an idea from your daughter makes it a million times better because it's a kid thing. It's one of those, Dad, you got to do the yo.
Yeah.
But it's other things, right? It's other things we do. Like Adam, I remember when I used to when Adam used to do the video, I would try to do something and I just couldn't. I was like, if you're watching this, if I can't even do it now for the first time,
I gotta think about
whatever, and I couldn't do it. And smash it if you sold. I can't do that, right?
Yeah,
and so I'll do the videos, and sometimes I'll forget.
Like smash that like button. Those kind of things, yeah.
What is it? Okay, so if you like this video, be sure to hit or no. I can't do it.
Well, I just
like when we're recording the video.
I was saying you record yourself doing it every time. I just have the recorded outro that I just throw at the end of my videos each time.
No, we do it. It's specific. Every time we record the video, we do it every time.
Because you're talking to the camera. Yeah. I try to find little ways to make it editing just a tiny bit easier. So I just have the standard outro.
No, it's good to find those hacks. I know Johnny made the comment in the chat earlier. He's just like, video is hard, and I'm like, it does get easier, but yeah, find those ways where you can kind of templatize things and make it easier.
Yeah.
But at the same time, getting back to the overall discussion of brand building, the things that I found, and I've watched a ton of YouTube. Like an ungodly amount of YouTube. I tell Patrick this all the time. I'm like,
would you say an unhealthy amount of YouTube?
A lot of YouTube. And some of it is though, is like I'm going through and I'm deconstructing other channels all the time. Like I'm always looking for new ideas, and I'm always pushing like, how can I do something different? And you just learn things all over the place. And this is across a lot of different genres of YouTube. It's not specific to tech videos. Actually, I probably look at those the least. I do watch them, but that's not where I get my ideas.
Yeah, but it stops at the videos. And I get to work with Adam all the time. We present and we do stuff all the time. And so you think it stops at the videos, but the brand is so far beyond the video. I remember we were at a Gartner conference. I'm not kidding you. We were at a Gartner conference and his voice was shot. And he's like, you got to do this, man. And I'm like,
I had snot running out of my nose and I'm like, I cannot get on stage.
Well, that's fun.
I cannot do it.
And I'm like, and it's, Gartner's all, corporate with their ties and stuff. And I'm like, I can't do this. This is not my crowd, man. I need my tech people where I can wear my t-shirts and, just do Patrick. And he's like, go do Patrick. Go do Patrick at the Gartner conference. I was like, no, I can't do Patrick at the Gartner conference. And I did Patrick at the Gartner conference because Adam is always like thinking about brand, and we got to bring whatever we do in our videos. You got to bring that everywhere you go, regardless of the audience. And I will have to say, I was surprised because afterwards, everywhere we walked, after I did that presentation in the conference, people came up to me and was like, "That was amazing!" But it was all because of where is he? Over here, that guy right there.
Yeah, I have to remember left is right, right is left in my video, you know?
Yeah. And I remember I told Patrick specifically, I'm like, take it off the rails. I'm like, I'm like,
that's
they
what
are
he said.
so,
That's what he said.
they are so eager to have some sort of entertainment as part of the, and that's the biggest thing, right? So if we're doing YouTube, if you're building a brand, you want attention. The way to do that is you have to make it entertaining, right? You have to connect with people. Yeah, insane, amazing. That was another.
Well, I mean, and it's also an example
Patrick
of
has
branding,
words, man.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
But I mean, there's a certain
yeah,
point too where people want you to present at a thing because they don't want you to present in their style. They want you to present you. Like, you know, if you're being asked to come somewhere, for the most part, they want you, and you know, just be your authentic self. I've had that a few times as well, where it's like, wait, should I downplay my enthusiasm a bit and be a bit more professional? Like, no. Like they asked me here because they've seen my stuff. They want me and not another version of me.
Part of the thing we've done with GynaCube, and it took a while, and this is partly why I brought Patrick. Patrick's much better at this than I am, and this is where that balance comes in. Patrick's just a natural, like, he's more entertaining than I am. I'll say it. And
I'll agree.
So, but one of those things with the YouTube, we're like, look, we want to bring that entertainment and have fun. We just want to have fun with it, right? Why? Yeah. Like, one thing that was when I started doing the YouTube, and I watched all the original Channel 9's come a long way, but like back in the day when I started the YouTube channel, watching those and just watching other tech videos on YouTube, I'm like, it's so boring, and it's so long. I'm like, oh my gosh, like 30 to 40 minutes. I'm like, my attention span is just not there. And so, like, bringing the entertainment or trying to have fun with those items, looking for ways to introduce that, I think that's really helped in that journey as well. And people connect with it, and people say it in the comments all the time, or tell us in person that, like, oh man, it's so fun, and you guys just make this, you know, enjoyable to watch. And so, trying to interject some of those things. Because building a brand or doing a YouTube channel or doing a blog, you are asking people are selfish. I'm going to be honest with you here. People are selfish.
Yes.
They want to know what's in it for them.
Yeah.
And what you're asking them to do is take time out of their day or whatever they're doing, and their time is valuable, and pay that attention to you. Yeah. So why would they do that? What's the value? And, you know, is it enjoyable for them? Right. So those are the things that they're interested in. And so you have to appeal to that as part of what you do. And if you're not, then
even to that, there's a bit of an art of with YouTube videos or with blogs is you need to provide to them the reason to stay and to tune in. And like one of the things that I'm doing now that, you know, that was actually the advice from the production company I'm working with is, so, you know, as you're talking about it, show like a clip or something. So like I usually have my video and then it overlays with a little animation of kind of showing the thing, of what they will basically learn as the output. So that's the grab that captures them. Okay, that's cool. I'm now going to tune into the video because I've now seen the result of what this is leading to. And I usually try to explain, here's the problem, here's the solution. But yeah, that was their advice is, you know, talk to the camera at the beginning, just cold open, just have that, but then, you know, overlay some kind of a video on top of that as you're talking to, you know, and it's usually 3 to 5 seconds, but it will show like me clicking a couple of slicers with the little animation of what the cool effect is, to showcase basically the end of the video, and that's the grab.
In the video production world, we call that B-roll. And overlaying that on top of you while you're talking, and so but and some of that's an attention thing also, right? Like, so there's a lot of things there. You want to hook people into what you're doing very quickly, right? Otherwise they're going to abandon what you're doing. This is true with blogging. This is true with I would even say this is true with like conference presentations as well. You've got to pull them in and keep that interest. Like if you don't do that and you're not setting up the stage of here's what the value prop is and here's why you should pay attention to me, and pay attention to this content, then they're going to 86 it. And you can do that also. Some of that attention piece is also not just staying on you for the whole time or whatever that one piece is mix them up. General rule of thumb from a video perspective that I've heard is usually every 15 to 20 seconds, you should be changing what people are seeing. This is also
Yes.
why if you watch
I
TV
can't tell you
shows, the scenes cut, right?
Oh, well, and then you go like
Yeah.
the Marvel level sometimes where it's like every quarter second.
Yeah.
But no, I think I didn't quite hear that exact rule, but a similar one of like 5 to 10 seconds of still image. So you should never have a static image for more than that times, even if it's just your mouse moving around, just hovering over the things you're talking about, something animated. And it's actually one of the reasons that if I do and I think I took the cue from you, if there's a long discussion of anything, I just switch to the camera of me talking. Because there's times where I want to spend maybe 2 minutes or so just discussing the whys of this thing. There's nothing to show. I just need to talk about it. Just to do cold cuts. Honestly, like, yeah, I've taken quite a few things that you advised me on, as I've improved my videos with the, you're the one who told me talk to the camera if you want people
Talk to
to
the
relate
camera.
to you. Have a video of you, and so that's why I bought all the equipment and everything.
here's-
rather than a
Here's
floating
an
head.
example of that.
Go ahead.
The other thing I'll add to that of like the equipment that you buy, I've been told that I'm very good at spending other people's money. Several
You're
people have
great at
indicated
spinning,
You don't need to-
spinning mine.
You don't need to listen to him all the time. Just don't listen to him all the time, man. Just don't. I get boxes showing up at my house all the time. But I can't tell you, Reed, I think what makes Guy in the Cube great is that we have each other, right? And so like I'll get ready to do something bananas. I'll get ready to do some bananas video, and I'll call Adam up and I'll go, hey man, what do you think about this? And he goes, yeah, there's 3 people that's gonna watch that video, and then we talk about it,
And you're one of
and we
them.
may dumb the video.
Power BI Premium.
Yes.
But then we may dumb the video down, and no offense to the audience, right? It's not dumbing it down for the audience. It's making it so it's more general, right? We generalize it so that we're reaching a broader audience. Because some of the stuff, like I'm looking at my whiteboard right now, I probably won't do any of those videos on the whiteboard, but it's good to have a sounding board. You know what I mean? And
Yep.
we go back and forth, and it makes it like the video next week, probably 3 people will watch that video,
Yep.
but hey, I was stuck. So
Yes.
No, and there's a fine art. The thing that I remembered from Rob used to have for his blogs that he would try to pass on is there's the hot topic and slow burner things
Yeah.
that for like 3 years.
Yeah.
A perfect world is both something that will get a crap ton of views because it's hot today, but it also will be read for like 5 years afterwards. But normally, it's typically kind of one or the other. Like it's good for SEO, or it's a feature that just came out that people really want to tune in today. But occasionally you come up with something that you love, and then you realize like it's almost like a disappointment. Like, oh yeah, this is going to be a video that everybody's going to want to tune into, and then you see the view count. And, oh. Okay, nobody's really interested in this, but I enjoyed making it. I really thought people
That's
would be into
Patrick
this
in a
thing.
nutshell.
Yeah, or there's the other times like I've had a couple of throwaway videos that it's just one thing, and then I realized that just everybody has consumed it. Like one of my most popular ones is the time intelligence slicer for a table with bidirectional relationships, and I thought that would be average, but that's like my number 3 video I think that's watched at this point. It's probably going to take its way over to be the first one, and I never thought that would be as popular as it is.
Yeah.
So
Oh man, we've stopped trying to guess at that.
Yeah.
We're always wrong.
even after hundreds of videos, like I think broadly, you know that premium's never going to have it nearly. As
We know
many.
premium is the signal of death from a
Yes.
view and engagement perspective, just from a video perspective, just
Yeah.
because it's a smaller audience.
gonna grow.
And it's a very small. Well, yes and no. I mean, it's a smaller niche in terms of those topics, right? Those are more advanced topics that we talk about that
Yes.
center around premium, right?
Yeah.
So if we're talking about XMLA endpoint or pro dev items,
Oh, yeah.
that's a much smaller audience than broad, just Power BI business analyst type questions,
Yeah.
right? So
Hopefully, it's going
and
to grow a
sometimes they're
bit.
going to
Like
get out there and they're
yeah.
useful.
Yep, and there's also an extent of it shows your expertise in something. So like part of it is just you can point somebody to, hey, do you know about premium and AI? Oh yeah, I actually have a video on it. Oh cool, we want to hire you as we want to hire you as a developer.
I will say our thought process for the videos we do, we never think the thought process is never, does this show my expertise in a topic? Because honestly, I don't care about that.
Well, yeah, it's a little
I
different
care more
world for
about-
you. Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, I would say even when I started the YouTube channel, I never cared about that. That wasn't my mindset. Originally, my mindset was I was in the support world, and it was more about what we called in support the front of the funnel, so case deflection. How do I prevent a call from coming in? And so it was selfish. It was a selfish thing on my side. I want to get stuff out there to help people so they don't have to call me with what I would say is the more general items, as opposed to and then the calls I get are the more deep and technical, that then I can go dig into those.
No, that's exactly it. Similar to me, like I would, a lot of the videos that I've done is, I get this question a lot. Man, I just, I don't want to have to keep pointing them to another blog necessarily. It would be nice if I could just have a video that, hey, I have something that already explains how to do this. I'm actually going to do one soon where I've done it in quite a few of my videos where I show how to do the active inactive button switch, with the visibility toggle, but I don't have a video specifically focusing with the title how to create an active inactive button state for toggling or anything like that with color changes. So I'm going to record those because it's hard to find because it's kind of buried inside of other video topics within there. So those are the ones where if I get asked it enough, I don't want to have to keep answering it via an email. I would rather just give them a video to watch. But for myself and other MVPs, there is a little bit of the videos and the blogs are lead generation to an extent. Like, people see that I'm an expert on this and, oh, this person knows about this thing. Maybe we can bring them on as a consultant to do a project for us.
Yeah. I don't know if the MVP program has changed. I was an MVP long time ago, but I remember when I became an MVP, like it was more about, I'm not trying to show you that I'm an expert. What I'm trying to show you is that I'm a contributor, right? I'm willing to selflessly put out content and information that reaches this broad scope of people. I can remember my first blog post. My very first blog post, I wrote how to add multiple columns to a SQL table with one script. And I remember there's a guy named Steve Jones. I don't know if you guys know Steve Jones, but there's a guy named Steve Jones. And I called him up when I was getting ready to write that blog post. And I was concerned. I was like, is this too simple? He's like, who cares? Who cares if it's too simple? I go, is it not, technical enough? He goes, watch how many people read that blog post. And man, that was one of the best blogs, most read blogs I've ever written in my life. And because, a lot of people, a lot of my presentations, I try not to go above 200 level, because you got to think about when those people come into that room, most people, when they're coming to learn something that they could take and apply it back to work immediately. Immediately. Of course, Adam can go and talk about, taking a dump. Or Kerberos or something like that.
Memory dump.
Okay.
A memory
dump.
It's like, all right.
A memory dump. And
Context.
A memory dump. Sorry. And so, but a lot of people won't. And Bob Ward, one of the smartest guys I know, right? One of the smartest guys I know, and I can go to his memory session and it melts your brain, But a lot of that stuff I can't go back and use right at work. I mean, Adam and I can talk about 500 level tech all day long, but a lot of the stuff you see us produce is because we want you to be able to use this right away.
Well,
a lot of the videos that I make, and that's why Adam will shoot most of them down. He'll go, don't do that video. Don't do that video. And then I'll talk about some simple.
Yeah. So two things I have with that. Most of the time, and I when I was mentoring other people on the Microsoft side, I always had this as well when we're doing a presentation where they're like, oh, I think it'll be like 300 level and whatnot. And I'm like, just understand that your 300 level is probably their 500 level, right? Because you're so ingrained in what you're doing, and you've been doing it for so long that you think it's simple. But for most people, for that specific topic, that's way advanced for them. So it's like, come in with that mindset as well.
True.
I forget what the other item is.
That's true.
Oh, no, I had an interesting conversation with Ruth, Kerbal, where it's the idea that it's actually really hard to kind of sometimes put beginner, intermediate, and advanced labels on things, because everybody, it's very much perception. And I've thought of doing that a couple of times as an additional production thing. Is somehow at the beginning of the label those. Then everybody I've asked is like, actually no, it's really hard. I tag it in my blog post on my website. There's a tag for those, but it's pretty buried, and I think most people don't need that to determine if they want to watch it. They usually go off the topic.
Yeah.
The topic. That's what I was about to say. The title of the session should describe it. Should give them an indication.
You're
all right.
I was just gonna say, Patrick, your mention of like original blog posts just made me look up what mine was because I was trying to remember the name. I went nerdy for mine. It was called Mighty Morphing Pivot Tables, or How I Learned to Automatically Change Hierarchy Levels on Rows. So the first thing obviously is from Power Rangers. The second was an homage to How I Learned to Stop. I think it was How I Learned to Stop Stressing and Love the Bomb. It was from it was an old film from back in the '60s. I forget the name of it, but it was two nerdy callouts to stuff in there. But it was basically how to change hierarchy levels in pivot tables in Excel from like 5 years ago.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna bring us back to the whole brand topic. We've been going all over the place. So a couple things again, tying this into some of the items we've been talking about. If you're wanting to build a brand, or taking a step back of look. Maybe you're thinking about, should I start blogging? Should I start doing videos? The answer is yes. Get content out there, right? It helps people discover things, and maybe you have a different way of looking at it. A lot of people are like, well, I don't know like how to get started, or I'm just thinking about it so much and I'm trying to get the perfect blog out of the door. I'm just gonna be honest with you. Whatever you put out there as your first piece of content, it's gonna suck. It is.
Hey,
like
our
stuff.
My first blog was only a little sucky.
No.
It was only a little sucky.
Yeah. All right. Well, you're unique, Reed.
You're an exception.
Most people stuff
You're
like
an exception, Reed.
I look
You're
back at like man, like even the videos. I think Patrick, like I was telling you, like when we thought that our videos on Guy in a Cube are not sucky was like what 2 years ago. It was fairly recent in the history of Guy in a Cube. Like for a long time, I didn't like. I thought they sucked. And that
I refuse to go
like
watch
the content
the early videos.
was good.
Oh
Yeah, but it's just like us coming into finding our voice and all of those other things and building on that. It took a lot of time, and so the biggest thing is get it out there. Yeah, try to find some consistency in what you're doing. From my perspective, going back to the attention piece. You need to, I recommend once a week at the minimum. Not necessarily every day, but once a week is a good rhythm to maintain the attention on what you're doing and to build. Some of it is, getting people the content and the regular stuff, but also it's for you too, because the more you do it, the more you're going to build that consistency. You're going to fine tune what your voice is, and you're going to figure out how to learn and grow in those items. So.
No, and I think
that you gotta just do it.
It's a double-edged sword, though. It's like if you look back at your old stuff and they're cringy, that means that you're a lot better today. I mean, it's whether I have the same things like looking at old models, but some of my old videos before you encouraged me to start doing the overlays and stuff, like there's a sprinkle of my personality in there. You can still hear it in my voice, but I definitely put more of my fun personality and stuff now, where my other ones I was trying to be very like tutorial, reading it like, and the thing that's going to be important is if you do this and then you should go ahead and go. It was so much more monotone and like these aren't fun. Yes, it's instructional, but there's no flavor, and it takes a while to find that, as you've said. Like what are the things that become the patterns, the things that people will start to notice, and it's the voice, so to speak, that comes through in your stuff, whether or not that's a or certain transitions that you do, or just little things where you sprinkle your personality into the content that you make. With blogs, the text, like it's people who bold and do highlights, and like you have to make your voice, especially in blogging, like to come out in a way that people can hear you when they're reading your stuff, in a sense. And I do think that actually is harder in written form, for people to get a personality out of that. Yeah.
So there's a question in the chat, and I'm gonna go with Chewy on this. I'm always gonna refer to him as Avenger Nerd Dad. So
where is,
he asked,
I can pop it on the screen.
It's Average Nerd Dad is his handle, but I call him Avenger Nerd Dad.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, should we remove old content?
Yes.
Should we remove old videos before we had some QA put in?
There we are.
Yeah. And my answer to that is, it depends. So I would say in general, I'm like, you go back to our channel and the very first video that I posted on Guy in a Cube is still there. I don't necessarily remove them. The only time I'm actually removing old content is if I'm replacing it with updated versions of it.
Yeah.
So there are some topics like in Power BI, stuff changes so fast that we've just got to revisit an item to get it more up to date. And so I'll go unlist the old version of that because it's just outdated. That's the only reason why I take something down.
It actually
Other than
reminds me,
that,
I need to take down a certain video because there used to be a trick that I did with the combo chart to add a total at the top of the columns. We finally today have a toggle just to turn on grand total. And I actually do need to remove my old video, but that's an example of you don't want a tutorial showing a like kind of an outdated or incorrect way of doing something when there's a better way to do it. Because you could still have like a link to the new one in the description, but it still can be misleading. So that is the one, I think, similar to you, the exception where I remove something if it is no longer relevant. But otherwise, I don't get rid of it, you know? There's a couple of comments that are in here.
Well, I just want to say, it's
Oh, hold on.
especially when you start. It's never.
Yeah, there you go.
A lot of people when they
What's up,
start
Patrick?
creating content, they want it to be perfect, right? They want it to be perfect, and it's not. It's never, especially when you first start. Even now, if I look at my videos and I go, oh, why did I say that? Oh, I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have done that. It's never going to be perfect, you know. And there's always going to be critics. I don't call them haters. I call them critics. There's always going to be. There's always going to be critics that come back and say, oh, you messed this up or you said this. I don't even worry about them. I don't even worry about them. And the only comments that I focus on are the questions. The rest of people, you know, giving like negative or critical, you know, not constructive feedback, I ignore that stuff, man, and move on. You know, you move on to the next thing.
Going back to the primal branding thing I brought up before, where I mentioned one of the pieces of a brand are those haters or the what did I call them? The
critics.
I forget the
Let's
word
call
I
them critics.
used. No,
The people
well,
who drink,
you
they
said
drink
that.
the
pagans,
Haterade.
the pagans, the non-believers. Like so I will say that your brand is not really a brand until you start seeing that in terms of feedback. Like the minute you have that, you know that you're resonating, you're making a statement, you're putting yourself out there. That is the sign of an actual brand when you have those haters or critics or folks that think that, you know, you're doing it wrong. And it's like, okay, I mean, that's an opinion. And so, so that's part of a brand. That means you're actually making and establishing that brand. Now, that's assuming like you're not going just way off and, you know, I mean, there's exceptions to that, but.
There's a difference between constructive criticism and just haters, though. You know, I'm always looking for constructive criticism. When Adam and I are presenting in person, one of the things I always say at the end, look, if you don't give me a perfect 5 on this evaluation, if you give me a 4, if you give me a 3, if you give me a 2, if you give me a 1, I need to know why. Because the next time I present it to the next group of people, I want it to be better for them. You know, I want to enhance and improve the content. And if you're not giving me any, I want good constructive feedback. If you don't give me constructive feedback, if you're just being mean, you know, I won't say it because I'm not going to press the beat button. But if you're just being mean, who cares? But if you're being constructive, that's really important to me. Constructive criticism is it should be important to anyone that's blogging, writing, whatever you're doing, right? It should be really important because it just helps you improve on the content that you're going to put out.
Yeah, and I
read you. Oh,
well, I have a question that I'm going to pop up in a second, but similar to you, Patrick, and when I do presentations, I provide a QR code actually to a Microsoft form where people can actually like, hey, comments or suggestions, you know, throw it back in because my goal is always to, you know, sharpen the knife. And same thing, you know, asking like, hey, if you have any comments or suggestions or an idea for another video, throw it in the comments, you know, below in the video. So it's, you know, the goal is to continually evolve. But I had a great question from Youst that I wanted to bring up. How much time
I was going
to
to
use?
say, throw that one up there.
Yeah, so I'll answer for mine, and I know you'll have a different answer.
Right.
I'm at a level that I get 5 to 10, somewhere between like about 5 to 10 comments a day between all of my videos and everything. And a lot of them are just like, thank you. I just, you know, I give it a thumbs up. I try to respond to those, and I answer questions. You guys get, I'm sure, a ton more. But there would probably be a certain threshold where I will now like have to start cherry picking, you know, a few times a week the questions that I want to, but I try to answer as much as I can, you know, time permitting.
Yep. So I will say there's kind of 2 stages to this. One is when you're first getting started. The other is when you actually start getting a lot of traction and it becomes impossible.
Yep.
Impossible.
So when you're first getting started, and for us, the first getting started stage, lasted 4 or 5 years? where respond to every single comment and engage with your audience and build the community. At the stage that we're at now, you're right, Reed. We can't respond to everything.
Yep.
It's just nearly impossible. And so I will admit and be honest and transparent here that we need to spend more time on it. There have been other things creeping up that have just been pulling at our time, and we do need to do more on that. So what I told Patrick, I said that our rhythm should be now is the first 24 hours after a video posts, we should engage heavily in the comments. After that, I'm like, we get to what we can get to. I'm like, because it's just too much. I'm like, we've got videos from years ago that are still getting comments, and I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, we just can't keep up. I remember talking to Patrick one time, and he's like, oh, I'm going through comments. He's like, man, this is too much. It's too much. I'm like, all right, let's first 24 hours. Let's try and focus on the videos. And so we do need to double our effort on that and get back to it in a regular fashion. But that's kind of the goal that we have.
Yeah. And there's definitely a spike where the initial comments are usually within the first like 40 to 72 hours. Then it definitely peters off a bit after, at least on mine.
Yeah.
They don't never stop, man. These comments,
They don't
know,
stop.
and I appreciate the comments, but you can go back. Like I have videos months, years ago, and you still see comments. And I'm not talking about one or two. It's like so many. I'm like, how can I answer all these? So it can be a challenge. And it's not that we're ignoring you guys. It's just that it is a lot of there's a lot of comments out there. There's a lot of comments.
trying to look.
And if I could answer them all, I would.
I do get technical ones on like a video that I did 2.5 years ago, and part of it is like, okay, it's going to take me probably like 30 minutes to just go through my code again and figure out what I was doing. And like, even now, like
yes.
I just don't have the energy to do that. Like if it's a simple question of, here's the Microsoft doc that explains this further, this should be helpful. But it's like, oh yeah, if you took your code, how would you adapt it for this? Like, okay, it's probably 30, 45 minutes to tweak this, and maybe like that might be an idea for a video. I'm not going to do this just for a comment. Like it's too much time.
Yeah.
But what makes it worse is you want to answer all the questions, and there's probably some good nuggets for other videos and all the questions. And you're like, man, if I just had a day to sit here and just answer questions once a week, right? Just take 24 hours, not 8 hours, 24 hours to just sit and answer questions. I would, but time just doesn't work that way. I don't have that much time.
That is something that I've actually been good about. Is it hasn't gotten to the point yet. But for certain things where I find that I don't normally have time, I actually have like a weekly scheduled spot on my calendar, like a Friday or somewhere else, where like this hour is always blocked and it is always for this thing. So otherwise, because I'm in a scenario if I just keep, I'll find some time. No, I will never find time. But if I block it off, I actually have like my Friday afternoon is saved for deep think time. It's just me to whatever it wants to be, but nothing will ever get scheduled from my last 4 hours on my Friday day, because that is just completely dedicated to me being able to focus on a single thing. Because otherwise, with the amount of calls that I constantly get in, I will never actually have a half day block just for myself to like focus. A client call will get in there or something will go on my calendar. So that's one of the best things that I learned for finding time for something is you have to dedicate like a scheduled time on your calendar to do that.
Yeah. Yep. So I think, I tried looking at the numbers, but it's not actually easy to find that number on YouTube stats. I want to say from a comments perspective, we're getting around 100 to 150 I want to say a week.
Okay.
Maybe more than that. So I want to say it's more than that. Because there's a lot.
Is there a little chart on the YouTube channel that actually shows
I tried
that?
looking. I didn't find it very
Comments.
readily, so I wasn't going to waste time on it.
Oh yeah, you get published, but it actually would be nice. My YouTube report that I created with Miguel Escobar's plugin, that actually has a graph that can actually show you per day and per week. But no, it doesn't show that on here.
All right.
For a different topic, I did have another thing.
Yeah, Ari's got a question out there too.
So I'll answer from my perspective, then and let you guys chime in on this. I've never watched those videos. Like to me, it is so boring to watch like every freaking second of, I don't want to see you type in the code and then wait for the little disk to spin. All those things should be cut out. Like, yes, there might be a video that is built in a report, but it should be an hour's recording that is cut down to like 25 minutes, because there is so much paint drying in development that like it's one of the reasons that certain demos are hard to do, because you know, even on the fastest machine, there still might be 25 seconds where this thing has to spin to do something, and that is terrible for YouTube. You know, and I know like there are some people that do that, where they do the streams where like, hey, let's walk through a report in real time. But okay, like I get an insight every 5 minutes. The rest of it is, it's a lot of waiting and filler. So I don't find those videos valuable versus a condensed summary with learnings and 5 minutes of insights.
Patrick tells me every day he wants to do videos like that.
Patrick, no, no, Patrick.
So I re-nailed it, right? So from a video perspective, what's the value? What's the value for the audience? And some of this, and I'll coming back to the brand, is know your audience, right? Understand what the value proposition is for the audience. That takes time to figure out. You can probably make some assumptions up front, and you'll fine tune it as you do more. But at this point, and this is why like Patrick comes to me, he's like, I got this amazing video idea, and he already knows what I'm going to say. And I'm like, yeah, I'm like, man, nobody's going to watch it. Now, is there still value in it? Probably. In a lot of cases for the video ideas that Patrick has, absolutely. There is a ton of value there. But the other thing we're balancing is the YouTube aspect of this, right? So, so if you come at it also from a business perspective, there's numbers involved there. So what's going to get the views, what's going to get the clicks, and what's going to get engagement with your audience, right? And a video like that, never going to happen. No. Sorry. It's not going to happen.
Yeah. At best, it might be suited for like a live stream scenario, but like not an actual published recording. That's what I'm saying. At best, it's you know.
So the challenge here though is because again, you're asking for people to give you attention. And you're in like a 5-10 minute window there at best. Yeah. And so a longer form video like that, you're going to get, people are just going to drop out. They're never going to watch that whole thing, like Reed said.
We're on a 1 hour video right now. Live streams are a little bit different. Discussions do keep attention a bit longer.
Different, yes, but like I will say from our live, so the live streams that we do every Saturday, we're not doing it for the views per se, because I will tell you the views on the live stream versus our regular weekly content, night and day. Like we don't get the views on the live streams.
Yeah, we're actually continually going up. We're at 60 concurrent viewers right now, so it's continually gone up over the hour.
So the live stream is a good example of community building though, and getting that connection. The other thing, selfishly, and I think Matthew pointed this out in one of our streams as well from his perspective, is with the whole COVID lockdown. We actually started doing the live stream right before the lockdown, so we were already kind of set up to do it. But what those live streams have done is help us connect with even those regular faces we've seen out in the community when traveling. And just being able to, as a group of people in the Power BI community, let's come together and let's ask questions, let's answer it. Like I'm always amazed in our live streams, our Q&A live streams, we can only get to so many questions, but I do see in the chat that a ton of other folks are jumping in, answering other questions in the chat as well. So there's a ton of value there. But not everyone watches the whole thing, right? So you still have that audience drop off. And so, you know, the people that are in the stream in the moment, they're going to watch it the most. But after that, like from a longevity perspective, you don't get it.
Well,
so yeah, we'll never do long form content like that. It's just so hard.
But I mean, back to the branding thing though. I mean, it's, you know, I would say since I've started doing them this year, I mean, again, it's a cue that I took from you. It's, I'm sure people who are tuning into this know me substantially better as a person, and like just know my personality, because you know, I certainly sprinkle it into my videos, but live streams really just, it's candid. It's just like you just get to hang out, and it creates the like, oh yeah, you get at least through chat form, you get to talk and have a conversation. And honestly, I love doing these. They're super fun. The people that I also get on, again, it's a way for also me to share with my audience other expertise. Like, I'm not going to become nearly enough of an expert that I would feel necessarily comfortable doing any kind of a deep dive into like Tabular Editor or DAX Studio. I know how to use them, but I'm not confident enough to present on them. But hey, if I can get Darren or something.
Whereas Patrick wants to do that, and I tell him don't.
Yeah, but I'm happy to host people to do that, and I think that's a great way to share other expertise that I just don't have the time to become an expert on, or You know, the one that I loved was the calculation groups with that I had a couple of weeks ago, and like so it's a way to add content to share to the community that I don't have to set aside 10 hours to become the expert in on that, and
Yeah.
people just get more exposure on that.
Yeah, so Reed, PA Beater's got a comment in there that I liked. So he said the live streams need to be longer. That makes it more populated. And I want to counter that a little bit. There's a couple things.
I can't tell if that's a joke or not.
It's a good point of like, and some people have that mindset of like, oh, make it a longer live stream. And so one, we could get to more questions. We have more time to connect. And those are good points. There's a couple different things at play. One is our personal time. So, you know, what does our family even like want us to do? So we've got other competing things for our time. And so we want to be there for the community, but also it's like, look, it's Saturday morning. Like there's other stuff.
Yeah.
Patrick also, like, he's just like, dude, I got other stuff we got to do. Like my wife wants to go shopping or we want to go out to lunch or something. Right. So there's other things there, but also some of it, what I found in the YouTube piece, more than anything. So there's two passions in my life, Power BI and video production. And I've been able to marry the two of those with Guy in a Cube. There's a third item there, though, that I will say is not a passion of mine, and that is marketing. And a lot of YouTube, what I've found, or building that brand, is marketing. And one of the things with the live stream that we're doing, so like the 1 hour format, yes, we don't get to as many questions as we'd like to, but guess what? That means people can come back next week and we can ask and we can answer more questions.
Yeah, that's
right.
fair.
And so like those are all aspects to consider in those type of things. But I will also say, like from a numbers perspective, we've been doing this for so long, and we've got a base now also where we've got a good collection of numbers. We know where our audience is and what they're going to engage with for the most part. And I know like what that attention span is for our audience.
Yep.
And that doesn't mean like our audience, the Guy in a Cube audience, for Reed, that may be different, right? But I can just go off of what we see on Guy in a Cube, so we know what to target for. And those are the things we base it off of. But the live stream, I guarantee you, like even if we went to a 2 hour live stream, wouldn't, yes, from a community thing, sure, there'd be more value there, but it wouldn't move any of those numbers at all.
No.
It wouldn't.
Oh, and you said like
You might
there's a
see
lot
two.
of. Go ahead.
You might see two different groups of people each hour also, because I couldn't imagine someone staying on. If we did 2 hours, you might see a group this first hour and a group the second hour. You know,
There would be people staying for all 2 hours, I'm sure. But like,
But
part of
it's going to be a minority of the viewers,
yeah.
though.
I mean, part of it with live streams too is you also need enough of a base audience to like, you don't. It's a little awkward if it's just like you and like two people in the chat. But at least like I'd say
hang on. So like for folks that are just starting, so I look at the gamer community here as well, like people just starting out something, or
that's
even
true.
when you're starting your blog or you're starting your YouTube channel, how many do you have? How many did we have when I started Guy in a Cube? 0. And I got super excited when I got my first like. Like that was amazing, right? Like someone actually watched it. That was great, right? It's that you got to start somewhere.
Of course.
If you're doing a live, the other thing I would say is if you do a live stream and maybe you don't have an audience, pretend that you do. Like treat it as you do. Don't make it
That's
boring,
fair.
right? Keep it engaging. And even if you get that one viewer or that one person looking at your blog or the one person leaving the comment on the video, that's special, right? That's someone engaging with you and they're taking their time. Like make it worth it, and you keep doing that builds that community, the engagement, the numbers will come after that, like if you're doing all those things right. But yeah, just if you're doing a live stream, just pretend that you've got like thousands of people and have fun with it and engage. The thing that drives me nuts is someone doing a live stream, there's such a limited audience and there's like maybe 2 or 3 things in the chat and they don't engage with that chat. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, it's a live stream, engage with the chat. Those are the people that are watching you. So yeah,
I want to give a
fly Marcos. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I'm gonna, if I can pop that on, give a little shout out to Andy for making a donation. That's always appreciated. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Andy.
But to your thing, honestly, I was. What was that?
Fly up Marcos. Fly up Marcos. Comment. Hello, Marco.
Oh yeah, this one.
By the way, Marco, I gotta send you an email. Patrick had an idea.
Yes.
Oh, common
Yes,
mistakes
I
in
got
big
an
data
idea.
And it's one
models.
I didn't say no to immediately.
That's an impressive number
Yeah, so-
in 1 week.
No, so that live stream was bananas that we did with Marco and
Yeah.
Alberto, and
Yeah.
yeah, he said made 10,000 views in 1 week. I from what I've seen, I can't explain it, and this is where I said before that we've stopped trying to figure out the virality of a video or of a live stream or like those items. Like we can never guess it right, and that's just one of those things that it just happens, and it's amazing when it does. On the Guy in a Cube side, we haven't had a live stream that hit like that. So it was insane.
So my
And,
number one and number
kudos to,
two
SQL BI for doing it.
is Tabular Editor with Daniel is 7,000. Marco's is number 2 at 5,000. So they're my two biggest. But Marco knows how to pull in an audience for sure.
But that wasn't in a week.
Oh no, yeah. Well, Marco's is in 2
Right.
months. I've had 5,000. 10,000 in a week is insane,
In a
amazing.
week.
Yeah.
Yes. Now we've had that. We've from a regular video, we've gone way past that in a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But for the live streams, we have not. So that was insane, amazing. It was great.
It's nice when you get that many tuning in, and just again, it's the how many tune in the day of, and then how many rewatch, kind of a thing, and the how much of a long burner is that?
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, all good stuff. But yeah, the big things, the takeaways that I'll leave everyone with is try and figure out what your value is, like why, and also understand your why. Like, why are you doing it? And just keep working at it. It's going to be a struggle. It's going to be a slog. You're also going to get to a point in that journey where you're just like, look, no one's paying attention. Why am I doing this? And you're just going to want to quit.
Yeah.
Don't. Like, keep going. It took a year, it was a year and a half or so before we hit 1,000 subscribers on the YouTube channel. A year and a half of like, and honestly, like almost no engagement. And I just thought it was like, oh my gosh, this is horrible. But just keep plugging at it. It takes time. A lot of times it's a slow burn. There are rare exceptions where you get that, one day, spike of like, you're just instantly amazing. I would not plan on that. So just keep plugging at it. Keep working on it. It's a slow burn.
It took me about, I think, 12, 16 months, I think, before I got to the first 1,000. Very like inching up, like, oh yeah, like this, I got another 20 subscribers this month. Yes, cool. But it's, you start from somewhere, it's, and I'd still go back to like the live stream thing. To me, that's kind of a second state. Like if you want to just jump right in and do that, but it does require more equipment, more setup, figuring out, like, I was super nervous doing mine because if you screw up in a recorded, but if you screw up with a video, you edit it. And that was always my thing. If you screw up on a live stream, and I have this, I almost never use it, but, I have a technical difficulties thing I can throw onto the screen just in case something like actually happens on a live stream.
Oh, I thought something went wrong.
No, I created that old school tech, because I am prepared for redundancies, but, I spent a lot of time with all this testing.
You do more preparation than we do. I'll just say that.
Yes.
But yeah, I did my first with Matthew in November, and it went off without a hitch, and now like everything it's second nature, and I spin it up in like 5 minutes, but you start from.
I remember there was one live stream. We were in the countdown, and I think we had 5 or 7 minutes left in the countdown, and my stream box blue screened. And I'm like,
just
like, oh my god!
Oh no!
I'm like, and thankfully it's like I had 7 minutes, and we recovered, and it came back online, and we were like, oh, okay. Whew. But man,
I like this comment.
But I'm like
Johnny
texting
W.
Patrick. I'm like,
I like this comment.
Restart.
Yeah.
Let me throw that up. I'll again I want to give a thank you to Nate for another little donation in there, and
Nate, thank you so much, man.
Yeah, Johnny, this one, becoming obsessed with the numbers is a bit unhealthy though.
Yeah,
No,
I do. I think it is.
So that shouldn't be your goal either. Like, it's nice, but that you like don't do it just for the exposure. Do it because you like to and you want to share something.
So the thing I'll add to that though is you should know your numbers though. You should understand them and use them as guiding posts to adjust and correct things. But yeah, I mean, and even when people throw around the subscriber number, like that's just a badge. It doesn't mean, like, even from YouTube's perspective, they don't even care about it. It's just a personal. It's an achievement as a YouTuber that you reach, that it's good, right? It's amazing. It's something that should be celebrated because it's a testament to the hard work that you put in. But
Can you
past
share that link too? That
Which link?
one website for YouTube that helps to show telemetry and
Social
kind of
Blade?
like no, it wasn't Social Blade. It was the one that it's like $5 a month. You shared it
the
with me
Morning
at one
Fame.
point. Morning Fame, yeah, like that's actually a really good tracker for people listening. It's something that Adam I think still uses. He shared it with me, but it kind of just gives you a bit
I
of
use it every day, or
yeah,
not every day, but
it's a great thing where it gives you an
I don't-
email 24 hours after your post. Your post, here's how it's performed with your other videos. Here's how it's tracking. So it kind of just shows what topics are and how they're performing to give you maybe an idea of kind of where to draw your focus on what to present. So that's the idea of understanding your numbers. So you can
yeah,
at
I use
least
Social Blade also.
yeah, and Social Blade's good too. But yeah, Morning Fame is fantastic.
Yep. All right. So I think we need to wrap this up because I've actually got an upcoming call
Oh yeah.
that I got to jump on. So, but oh man, and my links are getting deleted, so it doesn't like my. I think you were
Oh, it
maybe
is.
over aggressive on your settings.
Is
That
there
or
like
Dynacube is just risque. Look,
is
both
there
of
actually
those links
is there
got
is
deleted.
there an auto moderation setting
There is a
for?
there is a setting. Yes, there is a setting.
Oh, and
So,
I'll look to
yeah.
change that next time. That's
Oh, well.
really interesting. Cool.
Yes.
But
So,
yeah, everybody.
yeah.
Go ahead. No, it's just
No, I
like
was
yeah.
just gonna say yeah. There's go.
Okay. It's like it's like one of those moments from Letterkenny where they just step over each other. But yeah, everybody, I really appreciate people tuning in today. I think we had a concurrent peak of about 60, 65, and we actually had chat revenue. We almost never have those, so that's. I'm gonna get myself a cup of coffee, and next time I see Adam at a conference someday in the distant future, I'll buy him. I'll buy both Patrick and Adam a beer with the other five.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
yeah. But yeah, anything you guys want to say before we go to the outro and all that?
Thanks for having us, Reed. It was fun. Yeah, thanks for having us. It
absolutely.
was great, man. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah. Always enjoy engaging with everyone. Be sure to check out our live stream tomorrow morning, 9:30 a.m. Central. We're gonna have Casper de Jong on, so it's bound to be a great conversation. Just always love hanging out with folks and just connecting and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and like it's just to comment on that one more time. Like yeah, that's one of the best parts about these. It's just hanging out with people. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
Marco says he'll see you guys
See you tomorrow.
tomorrow.
Yes.
All right, everybody.
All right, everyone. We'll see you.
Cheers. Thank you so much for watching. Please consider hitting that like and subscribe button. And if you want to help support this channel, take a look at our channel memberships as well. And last but not least, please consider sharing this video on social media to help pass on this awesome content and to help the channel grow. So until next time.